Poisoned food deliveries, explosions, mysterious visitors at 4 a.m. This is new doorbell camera footage that has people terrified. So this one's infuriating. Just earlier this month in Evansville, Indiana, a man and his wife ordered food through DoorDash. Nothing seemed off until after they ate. Both of them started vomiting and felt intense burning in their mouths, throats, noses, and stomachs. Thankfully, they had a doorbell camera, so they checked it. The footage showed their miserable-looking DoorDash driver placing the food on the porch. Before walking away, she pulled out a small aerosol can attached to her keychain, sprayed something directly onto the food. That driver was later identified as 29-year-old Courtney Stevenson. When investigators questioned her, Stevenson said she used pepper spray, but claimed she was trying to kill a spider. And yeah, they didn't fall for that, especially because it was 35 degrees Fahrenheit that night. At that temperature, spiders in Indiana aren't known to be very active. The man who ordered the food, Mark Carden, later said, "It's horrific to think about all the other ways our food could have been messed with. It could have had rat poison, it could have been fentanyl, my wife could have been dead." Stevenson was arrested and charged with felony battery and consumer product tampering. This happened on December 12th in Hayward, California. Crews were working on a street in a quiet neighborhood when they hit a gas line. Gas ignited, and suddenly there was a huge explosion that shook the entire block. People nearby didn't know what was happening at first. All of a sudden, their houses were shaking and things were falling off the walls. The homeowner with this doorbell camera, Brittany Malandano, said the explosion hit without warning. "We were sitting in the house and everything shook," she said. "Objects fell off the walls. When they checked the doorbell footage, she said it felt like watching a war video." 6 people were injured in the blast. 3 were listed in serious condition. Investigators later confirmed the cause was a gas line explosion. The explosion damaged 2 homes and a nearby workshop, and more than 75 firefighters rushed to the scene to battle the flames. This next piece of creepy doorbell camera footage comes from Booby Doom on TikTok, who'd been out with her husband at dinner when they got a notification from their camera. A woman was standing on their lawn, staring at the house. This would be weird any night, but look at the constant lightning in the sky. Not a great night to be roaming around creeping on people's homes. So they called the babysitter and told her to go to the master bedroom and lock herself in the bathroom. But that, nothing was wrong. It was just a precaution. Yeah, that's comforting. Hey, no need to worry or anything, but dear God, lock yourself away. No reason. The woman rushes to the door and she's holding something wrapped up in blankets. Luckily, it's just a doll, but that means she was using it to try and persuade people into letting her into their homes for who knows what reason. This incident happened on March 27th in Deptford, southeast London. A woman in her 40s was returning home shortly after 7 p.m. She walked down a flight of steps to her front door, carrying a backpack and a handbag. She fumbled through her bag for her keys when a hooded man dressed in black with his face covered appeared behind her. The man grabbed her while wielding a blade. Police were notified about 10 minutes after the incident. A spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police said at around 7:15 p.m. on Thursday, 27th of March, police received reports of an incident outside an address in Deptford. A woman in her 40s was approached and threatened with a blade outside her home. Officers attended the scene and spoke with the victim, who wasn't injured. So, could have been much worse, but as of the latest update, no arrests have been made. This one comes from Wisconsin just back in November. It was just after 1 a.m. when a Ring camera picked up a group of 6 hooded teenagers who walked up to a parked car in a quiet residential street. They stood around for a bit, and once the street was clear, they threw a large stone, smashing the car's window. Seconds later, the same person lit an object on fire and tossed it straight into the passenger seat. Of course, flames started spreading. The group suddenly panicked. One ran off immediately while the others awkwardly threw random objects at the car. Moments later, it just erupts into a massive fireball. The alarm starts blaring, lighting up the entire street. A neighbor runs into frame and frantically presses the doorbell, trying to wake the homeowner as the fire grows out of control. The person who posted the footage later wrote, "Thank God it wasn't my car. My Benz was parked right in front of it, and my Hummer across the street." As of now, it's unclear whether the attack was targeted or random, or if any arrests were made. Reddit user Navy_Beans shared this next clip, writing, "Had an unexpected visitor on the property. All the properties up here are 3+ acres on a mountain, kilometers away from the city. So out of the darkness, we see the undeniable silhouette of a man making his way down the gravel road outside Navy Beans' home. Turns out he's nude. So that's great. He walks up to the property, skulks around a bit, He goes for the door at one point, which was thankfully locked, then makes his way back into the shadows where he belongs, hopefully to a place with pants and a shirt. Charby11 shared this next creepy encounter on TikTok. It was 4 a.m. when this strange woman slowly made her way to the door and rang the doorbell. Instead of standing and waiting to see if anyone could answer though, she just turns and slowly walks away, further and further until she's totally out of view. Actually, kind of looks like she vanishes. Strange indeed, and what makes it worse is how cold it obviously is. She's wrapped in blankets, you can see her breath. It's a chilly night, so what was this lady doing walking around ringing random people's doorbells? She wasn't even asking for help or anything. Can't say I've ever seen anything quite like this next one. It happened in Colombia. A man walks into this house, you can hear voices inside. Sounds like maybe a party's going on. The door stays open for a while. Seems like the guy's standing in the doorway maybe, greeting people. As the door finally starts to close though, something flies toward it. I mean, your brain can't even comprehend what the hell you just watched. And what was that? It looks like an orb flew at the door. Kind of looks like a baseball at first, but it doesn't move in a straight line. It kind of like whips around. Apparently the guy needed like 24 stitches. This happened in Carlton, just north of Dallas, Texas, on a Saturday evening around 8 p.m. A couple had gone out for dinner and stopped to buy a Powerball ticket. While they were out, someone showed up at their door. A dude wearing a devil mask appeared on the porch. He rang the doorbell while holding up a cardboard sign that read Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 through 15. After waiting a few seconds with no response, he knocked on the door, then walked around to the back driveway and held the sign up there as well. The Bible passage referenced on the sign describes the apocalypse, saying believers go to heaven while non-believers are thrown into a lake of fire. The homeowners later said the incident left them shaken. The woman told the news, I'm scared to leave the house. I'm scared about the end times. It's about Judgment Day. I freaked out. I couldn't even think of anything. Police in town said this appears to be an isolated incident though. The person didn't technically commit a crime and they didn't really bother investigating into it any further. And I gotta be honest, I don't think this would really freak me out all that much either. I mean, it seems like the guy is just playing a prank. But I mean, if you're someone who believes in the devil, like wholeheartedly, I get why this might be unsettling. His final case is without a doubt the most disturbing. It happened in Dudley, England in 2023. Sharon Gordon hired a local builder named Peter Norgrove to build an extension onto her home. She met him through their church, a Jehovah's Witness congregation in town. He came across as friendly, reliable, he was deeply involved in the community, and according to her family, that shared faith played a big role in why she trusted him. Now, the job was supposed to take about 6 weeks. Instead, dragged on for 15 months. Sharon paid him a bunch of money up front, but the work barely progressed. On top of that, Norgrove kept lying about when he was actually showing up to work, so Sharon decided to start documenting everything. She kept notebooks, receipts, and installed the video doorbell because she believed he was lying about being at her house and wanted proof. On July 20th, Sharon confronted him about the delays and lies, and that argument escalated. Norgrove became furious, and he hit her 8 times in the head with a hammer. Afterward, Norgrove went home, showered, shaved, and then led a church service that same evening. And this really stuck out to the judge later, who said it was a pretty clear sign that he had zero remorse for what he did. Sharon's body was discovered the next day by friends who went to check on her. Police later watched her doorbell camera footage showing Norgrove coming out of the house with red stains on his clothes. Sharon's daughter described him as a wolf in sheep's clothing, saying he used faith as a cover to hide who he really was. Norgrove was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 15 years before parole can even be considered. With all that said, I've been your host for today. I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.